Hello friends, Diana here, owner of Garden of Life Health Coaching, which is really health and life because your life is like a garden with all kinds of different interconnecting aspects that each require attention so you can grow and flourish. So that's the inspiration behind the name of my business. And I have shared before that I am very faith-based. So if you are just tuning in for the very first time to one of my videos, I want to warmly welcome you here and explain that what I try to do in my practice and with anything that I put out there is to give us some nuggets of wisdom and thoughts that have come to me as part of my own journey and what the Lord has laid on my heart as I continue to seek Him first in everything. So I've titled today's talk, Preparedness versus Prepping. So, what is it to be prepared, fully prepared, versus just prepping? So, in this current day and age, there's a lot going on in the world. We've just been through these years with COVID, the pandemic, and all the different restrictions that we went through. I think most of us realize that things could change more quickly than we ever realized. So, there's been a lot of things in the world that we've dealt with, and then also like in our area here in Chattanooga, we had some horrendous storms, and a couple years ago, just Easter night, we had a terrible tornado, and I've talked about that in sense of storms and fear. So I've already dealt with some areas of being prepared mentally, which is both your emotions and your mental outlook. So, if you haven't seen the video I put out last week was on how to live without fear, because we can be very fearful of all the storms in life. And I've talked about your mental outlook in the terms of your attitude and, functioning from a state of being grateful just for being alive. So between some of the videos I put out and some of the other things that I've posted daily on my Facebook page for my practice, those are thoughts that have kind of kept resurfacing is, how are we mentally and emotionally prepared for whatever the day might bring to us. So today I want to touch very briefly on the idea of prepping versus being fully prepared. So whenever we had that tornado, I realized that I wasn't prepared with a bug out bag. So when we had to run into our pantry, which is under the stairs, so it's the safest place for us in the event of a tornado, I actually ran in there in some flip-flops and just some clothes. I don't think I even had a jacket. And I realized if I came out and my house was completely destroyed and I had to walk through rubble, those little flip-flops were not going to serve me very well. And I realized I didn't have anything. I didn't have a coat in there. It was still pretty cool at night because it was so early in the season. I didn't have a purse or wallet. I didn't have really anything in there. So when you look at physical preparedness, which we're going to look at today, I want to challenge each of us to kind of get to a place where we are prepared enough, literally, that we can have that peace of mind for whatever situation might come up. So when I think of a bug out bag, which I think is good for any of us to have on hand, women that are pregnant before they go into the hospital, if you've been around somebody that was about to have a baby, usually they'll have a bag packed if they can plan ahead and they don't have that baby too early. And that's going to have just the basics that they're going to need. There's a list usually that's provided for them by their doctor's office, or they might pull one off the web. And that's the thing that we can do with the idea of having some physical preparedness factors in place. So you can look online for what's a good thing to have in your safe area, like water, blankets, things like that, a pillow if you need to spend a lot of time in there. If you've got children, you certainly need a place for them to be comfortable and lay down and maybe sleep. What do you need to have packed in a bag? Basics would be a flashlight, water, maybe some snacks, an extra change of clothes, some good walking shoes. Things like that are going to be really, really helpful. So that's some of those literal things, just in brief. Another thing I wanted to touch on today that I have it on my heart because this is something that we are doing, and I realize I do need to share some stuff like this, is we are looking at the potential of food shortages coming up. We live in an uncertain world. There is a war going on with Russia and the Ukraine, and you may have heard some things about shortages of specific food items like corn and I know some of the cooking oil. But then there's also an issue with fertilizer, and I guess one of the main ingredients for that comes from the Ukraine. So that might affect worldwide the food. So 6 to 8 months from now, we may see food shortages. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm not trying to be a fear monger, of course, but the furthest thing from my mind is to ever do that. But I think being realistic, it's good to have some food put back. So in addition to having a little bug out bag, something on hand of your basic essentials would be to start accumulating some other food. So what we have been doing is just as we go to the store, buying extra of things, especially when things go on sale. So extra pasta sauce and maybe some extra boxes of pasta, and then things that we can store in the freezer like vegetables. And then to take it another step further, we have gotten some 5-gallon buckets that we have stored in the back of our pantry that have beans in some of them and rice in others. And we even had been able to get a large container of sugar. And we've also got some jars of salt and then some other spices and things. So we probably have about a year's worth of food at this point that we've put back. And some people might think that's excessive. Some people might have a lot more than that. So I think it's a good idea to have some extra food that you're putting back, just so that you can be prepared and have some peace of mind that if we come to a point where there is less available, that you're not one of those that's caught unaware. So those are just some thoughts I had today on preparedness. So it's being purposeful in how you look at your family and your needs as a family, and how much you might want to put back. And water is another good thing to have. Have some in that safe area of your home. So if you're ever in there during a storm, you've got some water to easily access. But another great idea is to have either a water storage container, or some people might buy cases of water and store those in different places in their home. I mean, you can put cases of water up under a bed or in the closet, or tuck those in different areas. So I've not dealt with the literal aspects of what's going on in the world as much as I am today, talking about specific food shortages that might be coming. But I think it's something that's worth discussing and being aware of. And so I just wanted to share some thoughts on that. And, prepping and preparedness do kind of go hand in hand. And being prepared for whatever the day may bring, first, if we start grounded in the Word and in our faith, and that we are created on purpose for a purpose, but that we have a loving Creator God who will see us through whatever comes our way. So you can always stand firm in that beautiful truth that if He brings you to it, He will get you through it. I've said that before, and it's something that I truly, truly mean, and I truly live by that. So I hope this gives you some little nuggets of things to think about. So don't freak out. Don't feel like you have to go to the store and buy up a whole shelf. But I think just start being mindful. And if you haven't already been putting some things back, it might be a good thing to consider doing, and having some dried goods like rice and beans and flour, other things like that that are dry that you can store. There are places to buy things from that have a 25-year shelf life the way they're packaged. So if you need a link for some websites like that, just send me a message and I'll share that with you. And if you have any specific concerns or questions about how you can be prepared in your own family, that's something that I love to help people do. I deal with all aspects of health and wellness as well as life. So whether it's just kind of getting yourself to a better place in any area of your life, that's something that I love to kind of keep working on in my own life, and I love to help others do the same. So I'm always here for you, because it's important that we always work in life together, because you're not in this thing alone. And you know what? Remember that no matter what life throws at you, life is precious, and you, my friend, are precious. So treat yourself accordingly and live it like you mean it. Every day is a gift. So talk to you guys soon. I hope you have a blessed rest of this day and a wonderful rest of the week, and I will look out for you next time. Take care.